Hi, I'm Lindsay, and in this video you're going to be learning all about watercolour brushes. I've got a massive selection to show you. This is the 10th episode now in my series of how to learn more about watercolours. Have a look on my channel, or I'll leave those videos in my description box for you to have a look at. My next video is going to be all about pencil sketches, but before I lose my train of thought, let's point the camera down and I'll show you all the brushes that I've got, what you can do with them and what I recommend as well. I'll be talking about my favourite brushes and what not to buy, because some of the brushes I've bought are... If you're interested in any of these brushes, I leave links on my website to my favourite products. I've also got an Amazon store on there, so it's just lindseydunnart.co.uk, and I'll show you the best way to take care of your brushes at the end of this video. These are the bristles of the brush, and this is obviously what you paint with. The bristles come in different materials. You can get synthetic, which is great because it holds its shape and it's easy to clean and look after. They're also less expensive than actual animal hair. But to be honest, I don't prefer animal hair. I do have an animal hair brush, and to be honest, I didn't know it was animal hair when I ordered it. And I was actually thinking, why is this not my favourite brush? It's this one here. It's a sable brush, and it's a Windsor & Newton Professional. It's a size 2, and I just don't like it because it's very, very soft, so I find it really hard to control. A lot of people prefer animal hair brushes because they're softer and they can get better control. But my personal opinion is that I just prefer a synthetic or a mix of animal hair and synthetic. So this one is animal hair mixed with synthetic, which is just a perfect mixture for me. Handles of the brushes come in different materials. So they might be wood, plastic, sometimes bone, sometimes coated, but they can peel. This seems like a wood, but it seems coated as well. This one has a wooden handle and it's just got like a varnish coating. This one seems like a plastic. This is a good example of a brush that's very cheap and that is peeling. So you can see all the coating on the outside has started peeling. Sometimes this actually drops in my paintings, which can be so frustrating. I only use this brush for mixing my paints now, and to be honest, it is such a rubbish brush. I can actually feel the crimp coming off, so the handle is loose and the bristles as well are a little bit wobbly. So it's really cheap brush, not good quality. I don't recommend them, but obviously if this is all you can afford, definitely start with this. I'd rather you buy cheap products and paint than not paint at all, because at the end of the day it's practice and fun is all that matters. Handles of brushes also come in different lengths and shapes as well, so you can see the difference between like the length of this brush here. This handle is a lot shorter than this length here, and to be honest, it's all about trying a brush and seeing what you like. The feel of this is more like a rubbery sort of handle as well, so it's got a lovely smooth and good grip handle. This is more of a shiny and plasticky feel, which I love actually. I really love these brushes, they're good quality. Then I've got a brush which is supposed to be a little travel brush, and this has got a short handle, so you can see the difference between the lengths there. So one is much longer. I've got brushes which are thicker in this area here, and if I take this brush here, even though it's the same size, this part of the handle seems a bit thicker than this. So you know, the handles do vary between brands, so it is all trial and error, trying something and see what you like. This type of brush here is a Casaneo, and it's got like a very slightly chiselled handle. It's really good for grip, and I actually love these brushes as well. You've also got these brushes here. This is just my Felbert brush, but this is a really long handle compared to this one, which I said had a long handle, but this one is even longer again. So some of them have super long handles, some of them have short handles, like some of my favourite brushes here. They don't have a super long handle, and I actually prefer to work with these. I don't know why, maybe it's because they're lighter. This one isn't too heavy, but it is certainly a bit lighter and it doesn't get in my way as much because this bit isn't sort of hitting my hand. These are by a brand called Royal Langnickel, and they're a student grade brushes. They're really cheap, and they do normally come in packs of maybe 4 or 5 or maybe 3, and they're actually really good quality. I've had these brushes for years, and even though I do much prefer these brushes here, I will sometimes use this brush, this little flat brush here. Actually, I can get some really lovely paintings done with this. And what I love about this brush is this little grip here. Brushes will also come in different sizes, and the size of the bristles or the size of the belly will vary between brands. So you might have the same size brush, but the size of the bristles might be bigger or smaller depending on the brand. So it is all about trying a brand. As you can see here, I've got 3 size 12 brushes, but they've all got different sizes of bristles. This one has a really long pointed tip, whereas this one has a slightly bigger belly. And then this one here is a Da Vinci Casaneo, and it's pointed round, but you can see that the belly of this brush, or the bristles on this brush, is noticeably a lot bigger than the Silver Black Velvet brush. So it all depends on what brand you're picking up. I've also got 2 size 4 brushes here, so they're different brands. This one's Princeton Neptune, this one's Aqua Elite by Princeton, so they're the same brand but they're different types of brushes or different series of brushes, and you can see the difference in the tip already. So the Princeton Neptune, which is the brown one, has more of a shorter tip, and then the Aqua Elite actually has a longer tip and a bit more of a point to it. And actually I do much prefer the quality on the Aqua Elite. Something that's a big no-no with brushes and taking care of your brushes is leaving them in water. So don't leave them to stand in a water jar. And there's a few reasons for this. When you leave your brush to stand in a jar, it actually presses on the bottom of the jar like this, and if you leave it for a while, it'll misshape your brush, so you won't have that lovely shape that your brush is supposed to have. No matter how many times you try to soak your brush, it probably won't come back into its original shape. Also, if you leave your brush to stand in water, then you're going to allow water to go up into the ferrule, and it's going to work at the glue and loosen the glue. And in time, then it's going to loosen the bristle hairs and also the handle and the ferrule. So what I recommend is actually just rinsing your brush. So just putting the tip of your brush in your water jar. And this is something that I learned recently. To be honest, I do go past the ferrule a little bit. I don't go past this part of the ferrule when I'm washing my brushes. I will just sort of dip my brush in the top of my water jar and give it a swirl, and try to keep the ferrule out of the water as much as I can to make my brushes last longer. Look at the beautiful tip on this brush, by the way. I love this. This is a long round Princeton Aqua Elite. The best way to allow your brushes to dry is to either lay them flat on a paper towel or a cloth, which is what I did for years, or you can actually let them drip dry. So you can buy little gizmos like this. So I'll pop a little link down below for you. But this one is brilliant. It's got a little area in the middle for you to pop water into, and then it's got these little nodules on the bottom, so you can actually rub your brush on the bottom of the jar and it'll help loosen up the paint. But what I love about this is it's got these little holders that you can actually allow your brush to drip dry. So if you had water in the middle, you could allow your brush to stand in the water a little bit so it's not pressing on the bottom of the jar. And to be honest, I don't really use them. I actually use the outside for allowing my brushes to drip dry. So it's got loads of nodules on the outside of different sizes. You can see there's bigger ones here for holding larger brushes like this one here, or there's smaller ones for holding your smaller brushes. So it's a brilliant little gadget. Don't want to allow your brushes to dry up like this because the water actually seeps into the ferrule area, and in time that'll just loosen the ferrule, which is this part here. It'll sort of work at the glue in the ferrule, and then your bristles are going to start falling out, and you might lose your handle to your brush as well. You don't want that to happen, obviously. I'm going to compare the different brushes and show you what type of marks they can make. So this one is a size 12 long round, and it's a Princeton Aqua Elite. I actually really love the long round brushes. These are new brushes of mine, and I just love them so much because they've got a very long and pointed tip. So they're perfect for getting into very fine details. If you press down with your brush fully like this, then you're going to get the whole belly of the brush and you're going to get a nice thick mark. So you can see that's the whole thickness of the brush. If you hold your brush up vertical, so I'm just holding it up straight up like this, so just the tip is going to be touching the paper, and I'm going to use a very, very light pressure. I'm so sorry if my hand's in the way at the moment, but I just want to show you the really fine details that you can get just by using the tip of your brush. So you can see that I'm hardly applying any pressure at all. Then you could also make these marks. You've probably seen people do this before, but you can add a very small amount of pressure with the tip of your brush, press down so you're applying the whole belly of the brush, move your brush across the paper, and then as you move across, actually lift up your brush so that it's becoming less and less pressured on your brush, and you're applying less brush to the paper. And can you see the type of marks that you can make? So this kind of looks like a leaf or a petal shape. This technique is really good for painting florals or patterns, which is something that I don't do, to be honest. So if you just apply a little bit of pressure, press the brush down and lift up, press the brush down and lift up, press the brush down and lift up, you can actually make these lovely marks with your brush. So it's all about playing with your brush, seeing what your brush can do. This is my silver black velvet size 12, so it's the same size as the one I used just now. So I'll show you the difference between this one. This one might have a slightly different shape to it, so it might create different marks. It's only slight, but those marks there are even thinner, so super thin, great for animal hair and things like that. I'll show you now some marks that I can make with this brush. So if I press the belly of the brush down, which seems like it goes flatter and wider than the Aqua Elite, I can make some bigger marks with that brush, so that's great for petals. So you can see here I applied the whole belly of the brush with the Aqua Elite, but actually this is thinner than the silver black velvet. So it all depends on what you're painting, really, to what brush you use. You can get different effects with different types of brushes, different brands. This is the type of effect that I can get with this brush. I can also use it for tiny dots. The same size again, so this is a size 12, Da Vinci Casaneo. It's still a pointed round, but it's got a slightly thicker point to it. So again, I'm going to press the belly of the brush to get some lovely wide marks. Let me see what happens when I try to get some very thin lines like I did with the Aqua Elite on the silver black velvet. And you can see that the ends are not as thin, so if we go to the Aqua Elite, the ends are not as pointed and as thin, they're more rounded, and that is all to do with the tip of the brush. So let me see if I can get some little dots, brush marks. You can see these brush marks are slightly more thicker at the end, or more rounded. So the silver black velvet had slightly tapered, more tapered points. You can see this one is actually creating some lovely thin points still though, so it's still a lovely brush, and I actually really love the quality of this brush. This one is one of my newest brushes, and it's actually one of my favourite brushes at the moment. It's a size 14 Escoda Prado. It's a synthetic brush. What I love about this is it's got a lovely thin point to it, but it's a synthetic, so it's just got a really lovely controllable tip. Because of the shape of it, it's actually not coming out as thick as the other brushes. That's because the bristles flattened out more with the other brushes. I'm just holding it vertically, ever such a very light pressure. And I've created some lovely thin lines with that one. Well, let's see what happens when I do this technique. I don't know what this technique is, but I'm just going to call it the thingy technique. And you can see that's made some really fine tips, little dots. And then let's do that little flicky thing that I do. And what I love about this brush is it's got a nice big belly, so it holds the water for quite a while as well. This brush is a Princeton Neptune, so it's a size 4 and it's pointed round brush. And I'll show you what happens when I press the whole belly of the brush on the paper. Because it's a smaller brush, it doesn't hold water for as long as it would with the larger brushes. So because these larger brushes have got more bristles and it's got a bigger belly, it holds the water for longer. So I can actually paint for longer. So I would say start with like a size 10, a 4 and maybe a size 0 or a size 1, because then you can use this for larger washes. You can use this for smaller details again, and then you can use the tiniest brushes, which are these really tiny brushes. This is a size 2, by Silver Black Velvet. You can get into very, very tiny little details. I'll show you that little one in a minute, but I wanted to show you this one first. So this is a Winsor & Newton Cotman, and these are the brushes that I upgraded to when I was a beginner, and I loved them. So this is a size 6, and it's a synthetic brush here. This is also a size 4 brush. It's a round Princeton Aqua Elite, so it's a long round brush, and I really love the handle on this. It's more of a, it feels a little bit like rubbery. Anyway, it feels very nice to hold and very good for grip. Can you see how it's already running out of water? So because it's got a smaller belly, it starts off good and then it runs out of water, but this is well known with smaller brushes. It's got nothing to do with the quality of the brush, just the size of the brush, that's all. But this is a lovely quality brush. Oh my goodness, this is amazing for getting really fine details. Start off with some light pressure, press down, and light pressure again, and you can see, look how fine the point is. That's really nice. Already I love the feel of this brush. You can see that the water on this runs out quite quickly. The quality on this brush is lovely. It's beautiful to hold, lovely to work with. Excuse my paper, this is quite bad quality paper, and I'm working on the other side. I'll use the Winsor & Newton Cotman brush now, size 6. Please excuse the skipping of the paper. It is not the brush, it is the actual paper. The quality on this brush is lovely. Look at that. It holds water for such a long time, even though it's only a size 6. But I'm not getting such thin lines as I was with the other brushes. See, that's the thinnest I can actually get with that. I'm so sorry about the noise in the background. It's impossible to film when my kids are at home. And you can see already that it holds water for such a long time. It's lovely to control. I find that the bristles stay in shape as well. Can you see the spring back on that? So it's already back in shape. I highly recommend these. If you're on a low budget and you're a beginner but you want a good quality brush, start with these brushes. The last brush I'm going to show you is my tiny size 2. This is a Silver Black Velvet Voyage Round, and like I said, I think this is supposed to be a little travel brush, so it's got a short handle. It's a lovely quality brush. I love this. This is actually my favourite brush for using for small details because of the control and the very fine little tip. Because this is a small brush, it's going to run out of water quite quickly. You can see that it's held the water for quite a while. I was able to make a really long line with this. I love this. Honestly, it's beautiful for using for animal hair, people's hair, very fine detailing. I like working on this when I do animals' eyes because you can get into some really, really small areas with it. Lovely control on this brush, beautiful quality. It holds the water for quite a while actually for such a small brush, and I highly recommend this one. I've got them all drip drying in this little holder. Thanks for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video and got some use from it. If you like this video, please like it. If you do, it'll force YouTube to show this video to more people, and I definitely need the help because I'm a mum to 4 children and a dog, and I am absolutely shattered. And I'm not getting enough views, so I need more views. Also, if you want to learn more about watercolours, please subscribe to my channel. I do lots of videos like this on helping you how to learn more about watercolours. So have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.